Hi and welcome to Dave Barlow Guitar. Sorry about the shaky camera because it's really cold today, so I got all my warm stuff on. I am refretting a customer's guitar today. I don't have the guitar; I only have the neck, which is going to be interesting. So lots of people have problems with pulling out frets, and the big worry with pulling out frets is breakout or tear out, if however you want to call it, doesn't really matter. So when you pull the frets out, you get bits of wood popping out with it. Now I got a particularly tough neck here, so I thought I would video me pulling frets out without any tear out whatsoever, and I'm going to kind of video it so you can see it. What can I say is that I'm talking all the way through it, but there are some gems in terms of what I found in my experience and how to get around them. There are some gems in here, or there will be some gems in here, because I know it's going to be a tough board to pull. And I'll show you a few tips and tricks of how I do it, how I pull these frets out without tearing the wood out from the fretboard. This is a rosewood fretboard, which will be different to doing a maple fretboard. It's a completely different operation in my eyes, how we attack it. But just so you know, I started videoing this kind of in hindsight, thinking maybe I should video this for people because they need to see it. So what I do, just so you know, what I do is, before I even start on the neck, I release the tension on the neck here on the truss rod. Release the tension, so there's no tension in the neck whatsoever. You need to do that first. Once you've done that, you get some lemon oil and basically smother the fretboard in lemon oil. There'll be loads of people telling you loads of different reasons why you should or shouldn't do that. Whatever it is, all I'm showing you is how I do it, and I get really good results. So if I'm getting good results with something, I'll continue to use it until I need to use something else. But anyway, this is a particularly tough fretboard, so I'm videoing most of it so you can see what I do when I'm pulling it and what I encounter and how I get around it. So if you find yourself falling asleep, I don't blame you, because this is not the video for you. But if you are intending on pulling frets and renewing the frets on your guitar, this is the video for you, for sure. The first two or three were kind of really easy. I don't know why that was. But if you haven't watched any of my videos before on pulling frets or refretting, you'll know that yesterday, before I even attempted to pull the frets on this, I smothered this board in lemon oil. I smothered it. And I always find that it just helps me out when you're pulling the frets. And you'll see, when I put the heat on it, you'll see the oil bubbling up to the surface of the fretboard. This is a good indication you're getting things quite hot in there. Obviously timber is porous, so that's why. This is another tough fret, which I think is on its way now. Okay. It's kind of like, how can I explain this? You have to be like a bit of a Bob Ross. You have to just take time, chill out, and not rush this job at all. Then yes, it can be very therapeutic. A little dash of light here, a blue there. Oh, that's a bitch. So I'm going to start the other side. Heat makes all the difference. It just makes your life so much easier. Usually, you know, when you got a tough one, it's always good to come out on both sides. It's like all the glues down the middle for some reason on this, but that's what it feels like anyway. So let's see if I can lift it that side. See, we're not trying to get underneath the fret with these pliers. We're trying to cut into the side of the fret. But once you start lifting it, you will be going underneath. That's just going to fall out now. Let's have a look. Yeah. So this time, I did get a little bit just here. A breakout. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8 frets before we got any breakout. Oh. What to do about this? Well, I'll tell you what I do about it. Well, I'll tell you what other people do about it. Is what they do is they basically glue it back down with super glue, which I think is not a great idea. So don't do that. So I use, believe it or not, the same glue I use to glue down the frets, which is PVA, which kind of freaks loads of people out. But I got guitars. Every guitar I've done, I've used PVA to glue in the frets. And I suppose what you're doing with the PVA is filling in the old voids I don't know the science behind this. The PVA fills in the old voids, and it makes the fret fit snug. That's kind of the only way I can explain it. But unless you got a lot of the time you can put frets back in dry. Although I try not to do that. That's why I use PVA. Is another great idea because basically it lubricates the slot when you're pushing the fret in. It lubricates that slot. So when PVA dries, it dries completely clear. You don't even know it's there, which is another great thing. I shall keep my eye on that piece. But actually, I've got that piece here. Look. It's so minute that I'm going to discard it. I don't think by the time we sand this down and we put frets on, you're just not going to see it. It's not going to be visible. So yeah, I mean seriously, it's so minute. You can't, I've got my glasses on, and to see that properly, you'd have to get a magnifying glass out to put it back in. Now I've lost where it was, so that's how minute it was. So I'm just going to continue. And this might be the most boring video you've ever seen in your life. But this isn't. The great thing about this is I'm taking frets off a guitar, out of a guitar neck, which is, if you don't do it right, if you don't do this right, you will wreck your guitar for life. Well, you have to get a new neck. And if you've got a guitar with a fixed neck, glued in neck, you'd have to take it to a luthier and he'll have to put a new board on, which is very expensive. You don't want that to happen. So, I decided to give that a lot of heat before I attempted to put it because of the last fret. And I'm going to go either side rather than run down the middle. I'm going to go either side because for some reason they seem to be pulling out better this way. Every guitar is different, and the only way you can find out whether you're doing it right is by going really, really, really slow and being really, really, really careful and learning how, or acquiring the knowledge of how to pull the frets out on this neck. We get another neck, it'll be totally different. Wow, that's all I can say. I had a neck on one of my guitars actually, which is and the frets were someone put a lot of super glue to hold the frets in when they did a refret job, and when it came to pull them frets out, they weren't coming out. Not without taking half the board with them. Wow. And this looks like it's a similar scenario. This is a Fender Strat neck, and I gotta be honest with you, usually I don't have this much trouble with Fender Strats, but this one, my God, I'm struggling to get it out. This one, I can see just there. Just there I can see something's not quite right. Like it's had the fret in here before and it's been pulled before. That's a possibility. And sometimes you'll get it where, hang on, let me just try and get it. Nope. I'm going to have to go in from the other end. I'm going to have to do something I don't like doing. I'm going to have to wedge it out, which I don't like doing at all. Sometimes what I was saying was that maybe in the manufacturer, I don't know, is that the frets go in and for some reason one of the frets is not sitting properly, so they pull it out and they put another one in its place, and when they pull it out, the fret, what's the word, the cut is a little bit wider than the others, so the fret doesn't fit in that great, so they put some extra glue in. There you go. Still not coming at that end there. My God, what's going on? And the other thing people do is after they do a refret, they put in on the edges, they dab in super glue. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's a pain in the ass when you want to get the frets out again. And if you're using, come on. Okay, so I'm going to change what I'm saying just there. Basically, as you can see, that was a lot of effort, but there's no breakout. There's no breakout at all because we're going really slow and taking our time. So what I was saying was they put glue in the fret ends. You know, after the fret's gone in and everything else, and they put glue in the fret. I'm not sure if that's happened with this guitar. I don't know, but they do it, and I'm not saying they're doing it wrong. I mean, there probably is no wrong way. I'm not saying anything bad about anybody. I'm not saying that what they do is wrong or right. I'm just saying that you have to be aware of all this when you're taking off frets on your guitar, especially if you're going to do it yourself. And it's always best to do it on a guitar perhaps that's not your number one guitar, perhaps first, just, you know. But this is the bit I don't understand, right, about guitars. And obviously, because I'm a guitar player, so what I don't get about guitars is that most guitars, not so much these days, but maybe in the 70s and the 80s, most guitars, they put in shitty little low kind of frets. And they still do now on some guitars. You buy guitars in the 90s which have got kind of lower frets. I think the kind of trend at the moment, which is towards the end of 2020, the trend at the moment seems to be tall thin, kind of tall thin Fender style frets, which you'll probably find on things like, you know, the Eddie Van Halen guitar and similar guitars like that. And then Ibanez did some fret. I don't know what they are. They look like they're mass manufactured frets, but Ibanez did these frets. I can't remember. I saw it on a guitar the other day, and they looked like they were machined and just slotted in. But man, they were like great. They were like fantastic frets. They were exactly the right height, exactly the right width, and the edges were to the edge of the fretboard, which is another bone of contention I have. Is that a lot of guitars are made and the frets, I don't know, the frets have too much of an angle coming this way off the board. So if you do some really heavy playing and really heavy bending on the top or the bottom strings, you find you run out of fretboard. But if when you replace the frets you decrease that angle, it gives you, you know, maybe up to 0.5 mil of extra playing room, which you think, well, that's not much. But when I fret my guitars, I always do it like that, and it makes a world of difference. Oh, that's just popped up really easy, that one. So yeah, personally, I prefer wide, tall frets, big frets, so you can get your fingers underneath there. But it's not everybody's cup of tea, I know. But like I say, the trend is tall, thin, thinnish, medium thickness kind of frets. So I like these frets. The width of these frets is nice, just not tall enough. I don't think the ones that I'm putting on this guitar, which would Fender call their standard frets, I don't think they're quite tall enough either. They need to be slightly taller, so you can get your fingers underneath the string. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna take this out and take a quick break. Okay, supplemental. I'm finding that, because I've been starting from this end generally, I can't get a purchase this end. So when this guitar had its frets fitted, obviously for some reason the frets are a little bit lower on this edge, and I just can't get a purchase on them with these. just keep slipping. Maybe these are gone a bit blunt. Anyway, so I started from this side instead, and I'm finding that I'm having to keep the soldering iron on pretty much all the time to get these last ones out, because I don't know, they're just in good. I'm having to keep the soldering iron. Like I said before, there's like loads of techniques, and it's difficult for you to see this, but I'm just keeping it heated as I go along. So yeah, I had to change tack a little bit to get these out. When I get to the end, I have to just give it a bit longer so I can get some more heat on it before I can put it out. And still doesn't want to go. Probably because the ends have been super glued, and I need to break that super glue. Yeah. Yeah, professional job. That's how you put in frets off your guitar. I don't know, there's not a whole lot to it apart from taking your time and all that kind of stuff, which I explained. Obviously, watching a video like this might make you fall asleep, but it has to be done so you can see how it works. Try it for yourself. Like I said, get the right tools. These little they're like snippers. You just go anywhere. I mean, I don't have to tell you, I don't have to put a link in the bottom or anything like, you know, you just buy them from somewhere. Fret pullers, right? So you don't need any other special tools. You need some lemon oil. You need to make sure that neck's completely free of any tension when you're putting those frets out. And other than that, you just take your time and take it easy. Anyway, it's probably the most boringest video I've ever done, but hey, has to be done. I'll catch you later.
Let me tell you how it goes. Spot your face to cut your nose. No one knows just how it feels inside.